Here we are, part 2. So it's cockpit time, and I'm going to start by, first of all, let's get a point on that. Okay, so this little bit here is quite key because it gives the Mosquito a distinctive look around the canopy frame. I also want to show something of, there's a navigator. I want to show something of the, there's the half framing in the window there. I also want to show something of the pilot here. Look, there he is. It's very cozy in a Mosquito cockpit. If you ever had the good fortune to get up close to one. I have, there's East Kirkby down the road from here, East Kirkby Aviation Heritage Centre, and they have a taxiing Mosquito, believe it or not. It's in full working order. It'll do everything except fly and fire its guns. Once again, it's all a case of making things stand out. Give the impression that there's something behind the glass here. It has a canopy framework. She is, by the way, a very, very lovely thing to draw. Let's get his leg right there. That's his rifle stock there. Look, see that coming through his legs there? What's that? Use the HB just to give that little bit of definition around his face and beard. Just put some tone into that there. That's actually quite nice. It's barely there. As we've got the nose into shape here, start putting some suggestion that there's actually an engine on the other side of it, and an exhaust stop. See, all drawing it's all a business of finding out where everything is and finding what it is you want to show. Out there, I think, for the prop. great believer in using your finger end. It's a very good drawing instrument, is a finger end. I just like to have my aeroplane making some noise. I'm just trying to draw noise. If you can think of doing that, as tricky as that might sound, but I love the attempt, at least to draw the noise. And filling it with atmosphere, and filling it with detail that isn't fully truly there. By that means you don't swamp the thing in. If you do that, if you swamp this in detail, if you try to draw every panel, every rivet, everything like that, what you'll end up with is a scale model. You won't have an atmospheric drawing. And for me, a drawing in pencil should have its own realism, and it should have its own life. It's not about blueprint detail. It's about atmosphere. You can do more with atmosphere than any amount of, if you want to make a technical drawing, make a technical drawing. That's where it belongs. But I'm trying to give the impression of speed and power and grace. This aeroplane had everything. She was a beautiful thing. It was like giving the RAF a thoroughbred, a war horse that was also had the speed of a Grand National winner, as well as the power of a Shire horse with the speed of a Grand National winner, if you see what I mean by that. They were absolutely beautiful aeroplanes. It really was a jack of all trades and a master of the lot. The things these could do. The Mosquito was just an incredible flying machine. And if you read about the history of the Mosquito, you might be surprised to learn that it was almost rejected. There's no way the RAF and the Air Ministry wanted to put the lives of air crews into an aeroplane made of wood, and an unarmed aeroplane made of wood. And that was when it was first mooted. It would rely on speed alone. It's one of those things whereby nobody got the concept until it was spelled out for them, and the only way to spell it out for them from DeHavilland's point of view was to actually build them and fly them, and show them and say, look, this is what it really is. And then reluctantly but slowly, but reluctantly but surely, the Air Ministry came around to seeing Geoffrey DeHavilland's idea. But it really did take an enormous leap of faith with the thinking of the time that what was wanted was all metal fighters with high performance speed characteristics and capable of outrunning and outgunning anything that came up against it. Or so you would think. They didn't exactly plough money into that at first. You only have to see evidence of that when you see the Gloucester Gladiator. Lovely aeroplane that the Gladiator was. A biplane is no match, really. Let's get some atmosphere on this spinner. Incidentally, our cameraman today is Helen, my beautiful partner and long-suffering fiancée. Why? Love eternally. And she puts up with a lot. Believe you me, ladies and gentlemen, she puts up with a lot. Because being with an artist is not an easy gig, as any artist's wife will tell you. Put a bit of dirty blurring around that, and it looks like it's busting its chops off the paper. Just throw a bit of shadow from the guns. That would be like that. I'm just trying to cut this back so it highlights the tops of the muzzles of the Browning guns. 303 caliber guns here, 420mm cannon under there. So if you were a target on the ground or another enemy fighter and you got in the way of this, God help you, because it was an enormous amount of firepower was about to be unleashed in your direction. It really was a colossal hammering blow when this thing started to open up. Yeah, I think we're almost there. Because now what we do is we use that wing to come out of the drawing. See, what I'm after is, as I've said before, I don't want a blueprint accurate rendition of the thing with all its panels and goodness knows whatnot. I want to show its speed, its power, its atmosphere, its dirt. The fact that she was a grimy, powerful, very well used, well worn warhorse with all her sweating flanks. Top of that. I'm just going down to the lightest strokes to take me out, lead our aeroplane out of here. think Robert Taylor, he had a similar point of view in his drawings. I knew Robert Taylor very well. I worked with him for over 10 years at Military Gallery, and I learned a lot from Robert. And yes, he's sadly missed. I was quite sad when I'd heard he'd died. He hadn't been well for some time. But I'm reaching that age where some marvellous artists that I knew are all leaving us. Nick Trudgeon's still with us, thank God. He's a lovely guy, is Nick, by the way. He's a really good friend of mine. But I knew David Shepherd quite well. I knew Terence Cuneo very well. All of them have gone. Frank Wotton, he was lovely. He was a great source of advice. That's the one thing about those great painters of that era that sadly are no more. They were very very generous, very charitable with their help. There's a lot of artists have a reputation, or we've got a certain name that a certain reputation for cattiness. It's really it's the lesser ones that do that. They're the ones that slate you off behind your back. The great ones used to get in touch with you and say, "Well, Sam, how are you doing today? What you're up to?" And it was terrific. It's a shame for some of us to have to die and pass away, but as we do. But there's such a thing as so many young artists today. They don't have that, and that's a shame. But but for myself, a young painter who's coming along for the first time and looking at advice, come and talk to me. I'll help you all I can. But I was helped by great people, so I believe in passing it on. I've been very lucky, very fortunate to have earned a good reputation as an artist in this industry, and it wasn't entirely done alone. There were people in my corner batting for me. So, well, I'm almost there, I'd say. I don't want to over-egg the pudding. Let's get this out of the way so I don't need that now. Like all things when you've done it. Let's get this out of the way. We're going to sign it. And number it, and this was number 1. 01 of how many?
50.
50. 01 of 50. And there it is, number 1. I'll just put a little bit more just to give it a bit of definition at the top there. By the way, some mosquitoes did have an aerial here, and some didn't. As far as I'm aware, this one didn't have it, so it did have a pitot head about there. So that's that there then. I'll draw this into there, just to give it a little bit of definition around the nose. very distinctive snout, did the Mosquito. But there it is, drawn live, no tricks up my sleeve. Completely freehand and off the top of my head. So, there you go. There you are, Ian. That's your Remarque. That's number one. That's yours. Another one will be done. It won't be like that. Even if I drew the very same aeroplane in the very same position, it still wouldn't turn out like that. They're all the beauty of these things is that anybody can buy a print, but a Remarque gives it a totally original slant. You've got a piece of the artist that painted it is in there, and not bad for the money, really. So I'm going to review this and tidy up where I'm going to go. Oh, I know what I need to do. Just see, talking to you, look. I'm going to put in about there. That's the opposite clamp for the tank, for the wing tank. That's how you draw a straight line, by the way. You aim it. Just going to put this in there like that. Right. And of course there were these things. These stencils that this is as close to cheating as I'm going to get, but I'm going to use a ruler because I'm getting on in years and my hand is not that steady anymore. These do not walk forward stencils, or whatever they were. Those there. Right, let's get that off. That off. And let's take this. There we are. I'll review it in a while and maybe think maybe something or two, maybe a trick or two I could have added to it, but hang on a second, let's just put some shade on the edge, make it tight. That I can do. See, that gives it tonal strength. We'll give that a bit as well there. Give it some standout. there you go. And Helen, if you'd like to upload this to our YouTube channel, you can all see it. There you go. Plenty of drop, plenty of room for framing, plenty of room for mounting it. And let's look at the rest of it there, sweetheart. There it is. That's Russ Bannock. Became a wing commander. He survived the war. Superb Mosquito pilot, one of Canada's highest scoring. In fact, he was the second highest scoring ace in the Royal Canadian Air Force. His aircraft was called Hairless Joe. And this chap, he unfortunately, he did survive the war, but in 1947-48 he was killed in an accident flying a DeHavilland Vampire jet. Did poor old Robert Kipp. But that was the era that these men were flying in. It was, you know, it was dangerous, it was pioneering, it was exciting. And I like to think that they really wouldn't have had it any other way. They had a real adventure in aviation, as dangerous as it was. You know, not all Mosquito crews got away scot-free, but that's another history lesson for another day. So, anyway, thanks for giving me your time today. Thanks for having a look and watching what I get up to. You know, when you ask the question, what do artists do all